So, welcome, and I'm here joined here with a viewer from Bean Talk, which is Sergey, who's all the way over from Israel, come to be our guest in the UK, and loving the beautiful weather here, right, Sergey?
Yeah, just amazing.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier. It's too hot.
Yeah,
You were looking
AC
through the
is my
brochure.
best friend. AC is my best friend. Yeah.
You were looking through the brochure and you said, let's go somewhere cool. Where can I almost be guaranteed for it to be cool and wet? I'll come to England.
Yeah.
But are you here on business, or are you here for pleasure?
It's a business and pleasure. I'm just visiting some of my really old friends that I haven't been here for a year. So it's nice coming back, but then the weather is weird. But it's okay.
We actually don't do hot weather very well here in the UK because we're not prepared for it, you know?
Yeah, I've noticed. It's not my first time with the hot weather in the UK, but yeah, I know.
Yeah, fantastic. And you managed to get through the COVID stuff, okay? Did you quarantine, or how did that work?
No, we're a green country, so I don't have to quarantine. I just arrive and do the second day test, and that's it.
My friend just came back from Istanbul. He had to go out there, spend 10 days in a hotel because of obviously the quarantine. And then had a few days of actual being there, and then came back and had to spend another 10 days in the hotel here.
Oh, God. Okay. You couldn't self-isolate. You had to go to hotel.
No, you have to do the hotel from Istanbul.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
That's terrible.
So listen, I'll tell you why we've got you on the line here. I've been secretly looking to try to find somebody with wonderful, expensive equipment that I can just sort of zip around on my bike and go visit and borrow. And unfortunately, I keep on finding these people at bar talks who are like, yeah, I've got an ECM Synchronica. I'm like, great, I'll come around. He's like, oh, I'm in Florida. And somebody else is like, yeah, I've got a CREM ONE. I'm like, great, I'll come around. He's like, no, he's somewhere else. And then we started talking, and you said, oh, I've got the Rocket R9. I'm like, great, I'll come around. And you're like, yeah, I'm Israel. I'm like, why is no one here in the UK? But you've come around here. You haven't, I did actually instruct you to bring the R9 with you in your briefcase.
Well, there was a problem with security in Tel Aviv. They didn't let me bring it. Yeah. They said they don't allow another humans on the board. It was too heavy.
Have you ever been? Well, we all. And if you're, it sounds like you're a regular traveler. And if you travel a lot, everybody's had that experience where you bring someone a gift that gets confiscated by customs. So.
No, I thankfully didn't have it. I had some odd. I had some odd situations with customs when I'm bringing some things that are in boxes, and normally they show up in a really weird way on X-ray, and then there are a lot of questions, but nothing that's confiscated. Yeah.
Great. So you're living out in Israel.
Yes.
And you've got this amazing Rocket R9, which I'm slightly jealous about. I was actually, just before we came on, I did just remind myself about its features on YouTube. I had a little look at some YouTube videos of it. And it's sort of like, so, I've got the Rocket R58, and basically the R9 is like everything that I wish the R58 had on top of it.
Well, my previous machine was R58. I really loved this machine.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. I had it for a year and a half, and then I said, okay, it's time to upgrade. Yeah. And then I told you I was thinking about the, what was the name of that machine that I took and returned?
The CREM ONE? Was it the CREM?
Yeah, the CREM ONE. Yeah, correct. CREM ONE. Had some thermal stability issues that I didn't like. And I'm like, okay, if I'm so picky, let's go full saturated and R9, what can be better? I didn't think about decent because it seemed like too much of a toyish to me, and sounds like a toy to me. There are no boilers, and don't believe in that stuff. So I'm like, okay, I will go with this machine, and I'm really happy with my choice.
So let's just go back one step with the CREM ONE, because you're actually the second person that contacted us on Bar Talks with a CREM ONE who returned it. So the guy I mentioned just earlier, but who had the ECM in Florida, he originally got a CREM one as well, and he also had a couple of issues. One, I think he had a leak underneath, but the second one, he also, I'm pretty sure, mentioned thermostability issues. So tell us a little bit about that. What was the issue exactly that you were getting?
It's like PID was jumping wildly from, let's say, 95 degrees. All of a sudden it falls to 90 degrees because I used some steam, because it's a heat exchanger in a way, uses heat exchanger to preheat the water for the brew boiler. But somehow it affects the temperature of the brew boiler when you're using steam boiler, which was completely bizarre to me. I'm like, how am I supposed to brew a coffee if I know that temperatures are so not stable?
Yeah,
okay,
that's one of the key things, right?
Yeah, to me it was really important because R58 always was rock solid when it comes to temperatures, and never had problems with it. I never had any leaks, but the plumbing solution that they used is a bit finicky. Basically, has this sensor in the reservoir. When water goes down to a certain level, it fills in automatically. They claim that it's safe, but it always was scary. What if one day the sensor will not work?
Right.
And the water will stay open and there will be an overflow and I'm not home.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of make me more suspicious. But the main problem was the heat stability, the thermal stability. It was something that I said, nah, I don't feel like I'm upgrading here, even though I have all this pressure profiling options. But after
Was
all,
that
I
the main
have.
reason that you did the upgrade? Were you actually looking to move from the R58 to something that had pressure profiling? Was that the trigger?
because I got flare as a
Yeah.
my gate. It was
I
my
saw that in
gateway
your
drug.
suitcase picture you sent
Yeah,
me.
yeah. It was my gateway drug, as they say. I'm like, okay, I will get it, and I'll try it. And I really loved the option to control the pressure and feel it. It was really unique, and the flavors are so different. So I said, okay, but I don't really have time always to play around with the liver and preheat, and you know, it's an entire process. It's all slow pace. I can do that in the office sometimes and attract a lot of people, but and when I'm traveling, for sure, I'm always bringing my flare now, no matter where I'm going. If I'm going for a few days, it's always with me. But then I'm like, okay, how can I recreate it at home? This is why I went for the CREM ONE first, and after disappointment in CREM ONE, I got the Rocket.
You said, right, okay, you're gonna have to dust off the wallet.
Yeah,
and because it's a decent step up in budget.
Yes, it is. It was. Yeah.
Can I ask, are you mostly espresso, or do you make milk-based drinks as well?
Well, I'm mostly espresso, but I do play around with occasional espresso macchiato, which is, you know, just a bit of milk. But I have many friends that are coming to have coffee at my place almost every day. So some of them drink milk, and I make a lot of milk beverages, and it's really nice to steam milk with R9. It's more powerful than R58, much more powerful.
I saw that steam one is pretty amazing, and I think you can. Am I right in that you can adjust the power? What am I thinking?
Well,
maybe I'm thinking of
you just adjust the temperature in the boiler. This is how you adjust the power.
I'm thinking of
or you can use different tips for the steam one.
Yeah, no, it wasn't that. I'm actually thinking maybe it was the water spout.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Maybe it was the water spout. I think there's I saw some interesting feature.
Water spout, yeah. You can adjust, you can mix, you can use mix valve, which is amazing because I'm always plumbing my machines. So I
Yeah.
cannot imagine myself not plumbing my machine. And there is a mix valve that allows you to mix the water from mains and from the boiler so it doesn't come out too hot. And
I think that's an amazing. I actually didn't realize it had that. And I'll give you a little sneak insight. That next week, one of the topics we're going to have is we're going to be talking about things that we wish people did features people could add onto their machines, things that we wish machines had. And one of the ideas I came up with, which I didn't realize anyone had done, was exactly that. I didn't understand at all why the hot water coming out couldn't be adjusted. It's always too hot to me. That water coming out of the hot water spouts on these machines are always just boiling, and you don't want to have boiling water coming into an Americano, right?
Yeah, correct. Or
Yeah.
tea.
Or tea's even worse.
Come over and doing teas, and tea with hot water is not a good idea.
No.
So the thing is that this feature mostly used on commercial high-end machines, and they decided to bring it to R9 because it was the domestic high-end machine. So yeah, it's a really nice one.
You mentioned that you would never have a machine that wasn't plumbed in, right? So you know that I'm going through this thing at the moment. I'm still waiting for my plumber to come around to fix the doohickey that allows me to split it off so I can get Adrian around to plumb my machine in. He's actually been sending me pictures today of the Brita filter he wants. He's like, Nicky, you ready yet? I'm like, no, I'm still not ready yet, Adrian. But I've not had a machine plugged in before. And what is it about? So just it's kind of like an obvious question, I guess, maybe, but what's the convenience for you? Why is being plumbed in so good?
Because when you're using reservoir, you're always limited in the amount of water. And okay, it's fine if you're doing just for yourself, if that's your goal. But when you have guests, which I have quite frequently, I have to run with water I have to filter it, I have to fill it. And sometimes filter is not fast enough because just regular Brita jug or whatever. And I have to wait, and people are just waiting. I don't like when people waiting. And it just becomes super irritating. And then it's about comfort. Like when you have to do the weekly maintenance and wash your machine, and you're not limited in water in any way. You just can use whatever amount of water you want and need to clean everything without refilling. And also the fact that you don't have to drain your drip tray all the time.
That's the one for me. That's the one for me. That damn drip tray.
Yeah, the drip tray is super annoying. So yeah, I mean, once you do that, there is no way you can go back to not plumbed machine. No, it's impossible.
So I've noticed also on the saturated group head, and I don't know how this works. I'm sure you know. And again, it's going to be probably a stupid question, but on the E61 group heads, you have a solenoid valve or three-way solenoid valve that creates the pressure and then sucks the water back out the puck, so you get a nice dry puck. But then what it does is it sucks the water out, and you've had an R58, so you know this. After it sucks it out, it throws it all over the machine.
That's the annoying part of R58. That's or any E61 machine. It was the same with CREM ONE because they also use A61. But this one they also have solenoid valve, and it also releases the pressure, but the pressure is released directly to drip tray. There is like this extension on the drip tray that goes inside into the machine, and there are all kinds of tubes over pressure valve and everything. So when you finish brewing, the excessive pressure goes down through one of these pipes directly to the drip tray. So it's completely invisible to you.
I just don't understand why they don't do that on all machines. Like I just don't know how much extra can that possibly cost?
Well, I think just because of the design of the E61, even though they technically could make them longer, but then how you will open the drip tray and all
Okay,
of the
maybe,
design.
maybe.
Yeah, because I never seen E61 that wasn't doing that, and I had several coffee machines with E61.
Couldn't they just make the little bit that goes down a bit longer so it actually goes into the drip tray? Because it just goes above it, doesn't it? And it just shoots everywhere. So why didn't they pay for the extra centimeter of steel that takes it to the bottom?
I don't think this is the problem. I think that probably it's not just the extra centimeter of steel, it's also about the spring that's inside.
I'm sure it
has to be designed differently and all this stuff.
I need to have a conversation with the guy that builds these things, and he can explain it to me. And even when he explains it to me, I'm still not going to accept it. I mean, one of those really annoying people that just goes, "Well, I don't understand. I don't want it to go all over." Surely, we put people on the moon. Damn it, we put people on the moon. Why can't I get my espresso to not?
Well,
make
it's like one of my friends. I have a single dose grinder. It's Chiado grinder, and it has bell hose. Mm-hmm. So when I'm grinding, I'm using the bell hose. And he's like, "Why do you have to do that? There is no way to build a grinder that can do that for you." I'm like, "Are you asking me? Talk to the manufacturer.
Talk to the guy that made it, right?" Right. I mean, we do stupid things. I've got an E. What have I got? I can never remember the name of the grinder I've got. It's one of those big commercial things, but it holds a lot of retention. It makes lovely, so 61 or 65 mil flat burrs. Makes lovely espresso flavors. I do like it a lot, but its retention is horrendous. And the only way that I can really get the retention out in the morning, so when I make the first espresso, I try to get rid of it all. I have to run a purge routine. So I purge some coffee out. And then I have to kind of like pick it up a little bit and let it drop, bang down, and then it all just kind of falls out. I just think to myself, and then Adrian came around and I said, "Adrian, he said, 'Oh, I said, great grinder, Nick.' And I said, yeah, it's great grinder." I said, but I explained the problem. And I said, I'm a bit embarrassed, but I sort of pick it up and I drop it and all the grinds fall out. And he goes, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's what you do. I was like, "Oh, okay." So that's what everybody does, isn't there? We've come all this way, but that's what we still do.
Yeah, well, but I really love this grinder, especially now after upgrading to SSP burrs. These are 83 millimeter burrs.
Wow.
So, yeah.
SSP burrs. I mean, you got all the kit.
Yeah.
But you live too far away. I've never been to Israel. I might have to try to make a trip over.
Well, you should, but it's too hot now. If you don't like heat, you better come in another time of the year.
Yeah, I'm not good with heat. I'll come when and also then all the tourists come. I kind of want to go when nobody wants to go. That's when I want to come.
That would be December, I guess.
Yeah. December's good. Yeah. December's never a good time in the UK. It's always that time between when it starts getting cold, but it's just generally sleety and wet. It's that miserable kind of cold as opposed to the pleasant cold you get in places like Colorado. So you've done the upgrade now. You've had it for how long?
For almost 3 months, 2.5 months, I think. Yeah, more or less.
Any problems with it?
Not yet. I hope we'll not have any problems. They came over, they installed it, plumbed it in. I didn't have to take care of anything. I just called, ordered. The next day, the guy came over and opened the box, installed it, explained everything, and left.
Did you? So in Israel, do you have? Actually, what part of Israel are you in?
I'm in Tel Aviv.
You're in Tel Aviv. Okay, so in Tel Aviv, do you have these like coffee dealers that are still open where you can go in and look at machines? Because it's kind of largely disappeared around here. We just don't have that.
Yes, we do have. We have many. We actually have more of them lately than before. People do buy. People really love coffee in Israel, especially in Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv is all about coffee.
It's a big coffee culture there.
Yes, and and people are obsessed with coffee. So there are many places that sell coffee machines, everything from Nespresso to semi-professional machines for consumers. And yeah, it's an interesting scene. I actually never noticed about it here. If you have any shops that have coffee machines or anything in the UK, I think it would be a bit hard for me to buy something without actually seeing it.
You're
Okay.
exactly the point I was about to make, which is that there is one in London. There's one in Battersea. I think it's called Doppio, and they do ECM machines. But if you're not looking for an ECM machine, it's actually very hard. You can obviously go and take a look at the box of a Sage, at a John Lewis or something, but you can't actually play with it. But the one company that I knew of that had a showroom up north in England, which is called Bella Barista, they've closed their showroom. In London, I only know of Doppio. And like I say, that you're limited to the ECM machines they've got. I think when you go into the commercial side, obviously it's different. But if you're looking for a high end and you're dropping still quite a bit of money, you know, £1,000, £2,000, £4,000 on a machine, it's a bit like I don't know. It's a bit like buying a car off the internet. I don't know how many. I suppose people buy Teslas off the internet, but yeah, I don't know.
Well, it never ends well. They have quality control, they say.
Well, yeah, they do. They do. So, so you went, you had a look at the machine, you picked it up, and the profiling of it, is that how much of a difference is that making to the flavor of the coffee that you're producing?
It makes a lot of difference, especially light roasts, because I am into light roasts and medium white roast. You get flavors that you cannot get with a regular machine, no matter how much you try. It also, the temperature stability and the pressure profiling, they work together really well. I've tried my favorite beans from several roasteries in Tel Aviv that I used to drink for years, especially seasonal ones that come for a few months every year and then disappear. So then you retry these with the pressure profiling and you discover something completely different flavor-wise, okay? And each type of bean and the way it was roasted can have different profiles. You can go and play with them. I just told to myself, I'll limit myself to 3 types at a time. Okay.
Three types of what?
Of beans. You know, like I take 3 types of beans, and then I'm using them for a month and a half, 2 months, and then I'm changing to something new, something that I used to drink before but didn't try it with pressure profiling yet. Because if I'll go wild all around, not work. I will just be busy with making coffee and trying things out.
That's pretty. You're absolutely right. I mean, I had this conversation with Max that I now limit myself to 2 beans at a time. So we have one for the big grinder and one for the hand grinder. So I'll just pour a bag of maybe 300 grams of beans into the hopper of one type of bean. And then for the other type of bean, I'll do one at a time with a hand grinder. And that allows us to play with 2 different flavors, as it were, 2 different types of coffees with just the one machine. But the profiling side of it, I was always wondering how long it took you to kind of dial in and to find the right flavor. And is there a right flavor, or is it now a case of saying, oh, there's not necessarily one right flavor to get out of this? I can actually change it and get different flavors.
That's it, that you can change it. And the thing is that you have to throw any conventional rules out of your head, because you can get an amazing extraction at almost 2 minutes.
I've heard this, yeah. I've read about this.
And you have this pre-infusion times of 20 seconds of really, really low pressure. and you can just wildly play and then decide what you like. And after 2-3 days, you can decide that, okay, the same one, the same bean, same roastery, I want to try something else, and you can create completely different profile out of it. So it's like really amazing thing. And some of them could go really good with milk, like amazingly good with milk. Something that you couldn't feel before. So it's different.
I'm a little bit disappointed. I got to be honest with you, because obviously I just recently bought my R58 and decided that I didn't need to have pressure profiling. I was really hoping you were going to come on and say that actually it was a complete waste of money and that you got no value out of it at all. So now, but you've done the opposite. And now I'm wondering, should I have spent extra money and got an R9?
Well, you can start with Flare because it's really cheap entry and it allows you to play with pressure profiling without wasting too much money, and then decide if it's for you.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, and it can make a terrific espresso if you get the workflow done well. You will have an amazing shot, not worse than my R9. Okay, it can make really good shots. So yeah, it's something that you can try.
Which is a flare? Which flare? Now they've got so many models. Which would you recommend?
It's the one that before it's the Pro, I think.
The Pro,
Pro
right?
2, the Pro 2, I think. Yeah, it's Pro 2, something like that. I didn't go for the 58 mil because it seemed to me too bulky. I already have an espresso machine, and I wanted to be more.
You travel with it, right?
Yeah, it's my traveling machine. Like I have a suitcase that half of it is hand luggage. It's basically a section for grinder and the flare case on one section of the suitcase. And when I go through a security in the airport, what do you have there, sir? Coffee machine.
So what kind of hand grinder have you got?
I've got Kino. Again, when I got Flare, I was thinking as to what grinder should I get. Then I watched a lot of reviews and tried some grinders from my friends. And I decided, okay, I'll go for this one, and I don't regret it. It's an amazing grinder for espresso. It also can do really good AeroPress. I didn't try filter with it. Okay, I have to be honest. Never tried filter with it. But when I'm too lazy, I'm doing AeroPress. When I'm not lazy, I'm doing Flare at work, for example. So it's really universal, easy to control, easy to clean. I love using it.
I remember you told me about it, and I thought, yeah, I'm going to go and get that one. And then I couldn't find it being sold in the UK at all. Couldn't find any.
There is a shop in Norway called CREM. I think they have them in stock and they can send it.
They do. Do you know what it is? I'm worried about the whole Brexit importing packaging stuff. I've had a real problem getting some furniture, and I bought some furniture recently, and it was stuck in customs for weeks because they didn't do the paperwork right. And then you end up paying a lot of taxes, and they can never tell you how much taxes it is.
I know that they're using FedEx to deliver. Normally FedEx does all for you, but
FedEx sends you a bill at the end and just says, hey, here's your parcel, and by the way, here's the bill.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you never know what that bill's going to be, but at least you get it. I guess that's the thing that's true. At least you get it. Well, anyway, I'm not too disappointed at all with the JX Pro, which I bought. I'm having a lot of fun with that. And but it would have been nice to have had the just because it's a bit different. It would have been something a little bit special.
It's a different feeling. It's so monumentally heavy, but you feel that it's.
Oh, really?
Yeah. for hand grinder, but yet it's comfortable. Okay, you don't feel fatigue when you're grinding with it, and it grinds super fast. Like it can grind espresso for one shot of espresso in 15 seconds, 20 seconds time.
But do you need to be a bodybuilder to do it? Because I gave my GX Pro to my ex to make a coffee, and she couldn't move the handle.
No, it was actually, it's really easy. Many people tried it and used it and grinding with it. Especially when I'm in the office, I have a coworker that also loves coffee. I'm like, okay, there is a keynote, go grind it for yourself. So yeah, I mean, it's not, you don't have to do that.
So basically you started out, what was your first coffee machine? Your first espresso machine?
My first espresso machine was, oh God, that was, I don't think if I should call it espresso, it was an espresso.
That's okay. That's where we all started. I still got one in the kitchen.
Yeah, I actually gifted this one to one of my friends, and it's still alive after all these years. And he's still using
the original capsule, right? The original, not the new one. Yeah, they're better.
Yeah. It's the original one and super manual one that you actually can decide how much water you put in manually without losing the capsule like they have with the new machines and stuff. And it's still working. Okay. It's weird. And then after this machine, I had bean to cup machine. It was for 2 weeks.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Did not get on with that.
Yeah, because I wanted to upgrade from Nespresso, and I'm coming to the store, and I'm telling the sales rep what I'm looking for, and then he is offering me a Gaggia something machine that does the bean to cup thing, and I'm bringing it home, and I understand that I don't have much of an upgrade here in terms of flavor. Okay. Even though it grinds the coffee, but the result is disappointing because again, it goes through the pressurized basket inside the machine anyway, because this is how these machines are built. And the flavor is just not what I was hoping to achieve. Okay. And then he called me, the sales rep, and he's asking me how's the machine, and I'm telling him I'm terribly disappointed in the machine. Okay. And then I'm telling him everything is like, yeah, the machine is not for you. I made a mistake. You should return it and pick something
I'll sell you another one.
No, actually, they were really good because it was with me, I think, for over 2 weeks a bit. And in Israel, you can return up to 2 weeks. But they accepted the machine and they gave me a full refund. And then I got Apartamento, Rocket Apartamento.
Okay.
Yeah. And
that's a whole new story there, Sergey. Upgrading from the Apartamento to the R58.
Yes.
What was the reasoning behind that? What was the logic for that?
More stability, more control, because it's a coffee world, and we are all control freaks to some extent. If you really love coffee, you have to control things.
Because the Apartamento is a heat exchange, right?
Yes, it's a heat exchange, and it's non-PID heat exchange, and there is no control whatsoever. It's all guess game. And then I just I had a really good time with the machine, especially in the beginning, when you just master the espresso and pumping and doing things and steaming milk and everything. So it was my training course. And after that, I was, okay, I need an upgrade, and decided to get the R58. Didn't think about pressure profiling yet. I knew that it was there, and I knew that maybe I wanted someday, but didn't think about it yet. And I really love the R58. It's a nice machine. It's a stable machine. I never had any problem with it. And it was easy to plumb in. was easy to use. The only bummer was that it didn't have built-in timer, so I had to use this socket, smart socket to turn it
Oh, I
on
mean to
and
turn it
off.
on.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
the modern one does have the timer.
yeah. That's Cinquan Toto. This one has timer, but
Yeah.
the one that I got almost a year and a half, 2 years ago, it wasn't there yet. There was no timer, and so it was a bit annoying. But I just used the socket the same way I used it with my apartamento. So the socket is still alive, but not
Yeah.
used now because I have R9. And I had a really good time with the machine. It was good. But then flare came in, and pressure profiling came in. And then
Really, you're telling me basically not to get a flare, because if I do, I'm just setting myself down a path to want to upgrade to an R9.
it really depends how impulsive you are when it comes
Yeah,
to
yeah,
buying
I've got a
things.
problem. Just like you, Sergey, I think we both understand that we both got problems. I had, I think at one point, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, I had 6 coffee machines in the kitchen. Uh, and fortunately I got divorced, so we managed to split that into half.
Okay.
And but my ex still literally lives next door, so I have to. She's moved in next door, so I have to go around there and clean. And she expects me to do all the maintenance for her
Oh,
coffee
okay.
machine. So.
So my R58 went to my ex. So.
Oh, really? Okay. You're more generous than me. I gave her a Sage Bambino Plus. I'm not telling her your story. She's going to get ideas. Listen, Sergey, we should wrap it up. I said it'd be 30 minutes, and I've taken up 45 minutes of your time. I'm really sorry I didn't get a chance to come down to London and see you. I mean, maybe I think you're being delayed, so I may get that chance to come down. And if I do, I'll ping you, and it'd be really lovely to hook up. But I wanted to
No
thank
problem.
you.
Sure. Thank
Thank
you,
you so
Sid.
much for coming on.
Thank you.